This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Tuesday, May 12th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Thank you so much for joining us. America is moving to reopen, but it's not clear how states will balance risking lives and saving livelihoods. In some states, people are back on the job, even in defiance of state orders. 77-year-old Michigan barber Carl Mankey has become a symbol of resistance for many people after defying Governor Gretchen Whitmer's lockdown orders, considered by many in his state to be too restrictive. Supporters cheered Mankey outside his shop during a news conference after a judge denied the state's request to sign a temporary restraining order against the barber and granted him a hearing.
You know, I had gone 6 weeks without a paycheck, with no money coming in. I've always worked. I've never looked for handouts. I don't even know what they are. I had somebody call me and say, well, why didn't you get on food stamps? Well, you know, I don't want food stamps. I want to work.
Mankey says he has seen anything like the government regulations during the pandemic. Meanwhile, despite concerns about a possible second wave of coronavirus cases, some polls indicate less concern among the public. I want to turn now to California, where first responders are beginning to undergo antibody testing for the coronavirus. The Oxnard Fire Department is working with St. John's Hospital to conduct the testing. The department has purchased 5,000 tests for firefighters, police officers, sheriff's deputies, and others. Testing takes about 10 minutes, and the results are returned within 24 hours. One fire chief says this will help in the fight to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Some of the things that it may be able to tell us is when the virus first came to the county. So anybody that tests positives for antibodies, their blood actually becomes really, really significant. They can actually use and give that blood to people that are gravely ill with the coronavirus. I think this is going to become really critical information to drive policy decisions about what we can do next, how we can protect our responders, but more importantly, how we can open up the community again.
This move, city leaders plan to start testing essential workers like grocery store clerks. Federal prosecutors are considering hate crimes charges against the man accused of killing an unarmed black man in Georgia. Police arrested the father and son, Gregory and Travis McMichael, Thursday on charges of felony murder and aggravated assault. Video shows the men following 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery in a truck after they spotted him jogging in the neighborhood and then shooting and killing him. They told police Arbery matched the appearance of a burglary suspect caught on surveillance video. The 2-month delay in their arrest has outraged the public. There have been protests across the country. 2 Georgia district attorneys removed themselves from the case because of conflict of interest. The prosecutors had a working relationship with the gunman. President Trump told reporters Monday he is following this case closely.
As you know, they're studying the case very carefully. They're interviewing everybody involved, and we'll see what happens. To me, it's a very sad thing. I spoke to a number of people that are very much involved in it. I've been following that one very closely. It breaks your heart to watch it. It breaks your heart.
Hate crime charges will allow for a separate case in federal court. Who should decide who gets to teach or preach a religion's doctrine? The faith institution or the government? The Supreme Court is hearing a case this week to answer those questions. The case involves the firing of a 5th grade teacher by a California Catholic school. She wants the government to be the final judge. The school insists the government should have no say in the matter. Paul Strand is on the story.
Courts have already ruled that religious bodies alone have the power to decide about the hiring and firing of clergy. In this case, the school, Our Lady of Guadalupe, argues religious teachers also minister, so the government should be kept away from their hiring and firing.
The doctrine is a ministerial exception, and the question is, does it apply to who teaches religion at religious schools?
Beckett attorney Eric Rosbach argued the point to the justices not in the chamber, but over the phone.
Their job, number one, in their overriding commitment was to teach these kids to become Catholic and to believe in the Catholic faith.
One objection from Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was that religious employers would get away without having to follow important laws.
The breadth of the exemption is staggering. That is, these people are exempt from all anti-discrimination laws.
The school's argument would strip more than 300,000 lay teachers in religious schools across the country of basic employment law protections.
The school's attorney argued government should not be allowed to interfere with those who minister faith. The school's defenders pointed out in a brief to the court how the laid-off teacher in this case was like a minister. She taught daily religion classes covering core Catholic doctrine, the sacraments, and how to read the Bible. She led daily and spontaneous prayers with and for her students.
You're teaching them religion more than they get to spend time with the parish priest. You're a minister of the faith. Firm
urges all religious believers to be concerned about the fate of the ministerial exception.
The right of religious schools to choose who passes on the faith to the next generation is important to all faiths. And if the government can dictate who teaches the faith, then they can decide what is being taught as well.
Strict constitutionalists interpret the First Amendment as being all about keeping government from controlling religion. And they say that's what's at stake in this case, keeping the hands of the state off the church. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
For more on cases like this and for more political news and analysis, be sure to catch Faith Nation this evening. You can watch it right here on the CBN News Channel. As tensions heat up between Washington and Tehran, a training exercise mishap near the Strait of Hormuz killed 19 Iranian sailors Monday. Iran authorities said a missile fired mistakenly struck another naval vessel instead of its intended target. The incident killed 19 Iranian sailors and wounded 15 others. The U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, which operates in the area, has not yet responded to the incident. It comes after a tense encounter between Iranian and U.S. naval forces in the Persian Gulf last month, and is the second time Iran's military has hit the wrong target this year. In January, Iran accidentally shot down a Ukrainian jetliner near Tehran, killing 176 passengers. Still ahead, with restaurant dining rooms closed across the country, many Americans have been taking to the kitchen. One celebrity chef is sharing some easy recipes right after this. But before we go to break, here's a quick look at what's trending at CBNNews.com.
Before you marry is a bad idea. Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
For many, the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns have led to spending more time in the kitchen. And though restaurants across the country are starting to open their doors, one celebrity chef is encouraging Americans to continue to cook at home. On this week's Healthy Living, Chef Ellie Krieger shows us how to make some easy tacos your family will love.
So really just started off here cooking some onions and garlic in a pan, and this is all made in one skillet because it's a hole-in-one,
yes.
right? So garlic and onions, and then we're going to make this beautiful, flavorful sauce for the turkey, but really easily. So basically, it just involves adding some tomato paste. I'm sorry, tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce. It's not as thick as tomato paste. Yeah, it's like a
puree. So just a can of the tomato puree.
Just 1 can. That's great because you don't waste.
14-ounce can, exactly. Yeah. And then some green salsa, some salsa verde. Tomatillo salsa, and then you can buy, you buy a jar of that, and essentially you can use that also just as a regular dipping salsa as well. It's delicious. Also what goes in here is some nice smoky spice from Chipotle chili in adobo. So this comes in a can also, and just a little goes a long way to bring so much smoky, rich flavor.
So for those of you who don't really know about this particular ingredient, it's Chipotle chili in adobo sauce.
Yes.
And you would find it on the international aisle of the grocery store?
Just in the canned food section, in the international aisle, where you might find other sort of taco ingredients.
Okay.
But basically, it's Chipotle is a smoked jalapeno.
Okay.
So think about it with the heat of a jalapeno. So you want to use about a tablespoon, and then the sauce that it comes in is super flavorful. So I put a little bit of that in also.
That's the adobo sauce.
Exactly. And you will inevitably have leftovers because a little bit goes a long way, as I said. What I like to do with the leftovers, I put them in little plastic baggies and freeze them.
Wonderful.
So then you have like sort of individual portions and you can put that in your regular chili. You could put it in meatloaf. It's really good. So there's lots of things you can do with it.
So that's great. Some people really love the heat. Some people like me don't like it very much at all. So for people who like me don't like a lot of spice, how much are we talking about?
So, I would start with maybe 2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons.
And then taste and see at the end, because it's going to reduce for a while.
Okay.
And the flavors concentrate as it reduces. So it's better you can always add more, but you can't take away.
A great
right?
rule
That's
of thumb.
a good cooking rule of thumb. So then just some oregano and salt and some chicken broth. And then this just comes to a simmer.
How much chicken broth are you putting in there?
So that's, oh gosh, I think that's about half a cup.
Okay. Because a lot of people have, and can you substitute turkey broth? A lot of people have extra turkey broth after Thanksgiving.
Or even you could put water, a little water in there too. So then this comes to a boil and starts to simmer, and you want it to really cook down so it gets like a darker shade of red.
Darker shade of red.
And that will really develop the flavor.
And how long does that take about?
Oh, it takes about maybe 10 minutes, I would say.
Okay, that's fast.
Yeah, super fast and super easy. As you can see, very little chopping involved. And then it winds up looking like this. And so the tomato really takes on that rich, dark color. And you can smell the smokiness of the chili.
It smells like a Mexican restaurant in here.
Exactly.
And that'll be such a great treat for people on Thanksgiving week and watching the football games to have something a little bit different than the traditional Thanksgiving meal.
And you could even do like kind of mini tacos and make them like kind of bite size.
Perfect.
And that would be fun finger food for like game day.
Absolutely.
So then the turkey, or you could do rotisserie chicken, of course. Then that goes in. And it just simmers together until it really absorbs the flavor. All the turkey is warmed through, and the flavors are absorbed. And then you use this as your main taco mix. And again, it's 1 skillet. And then what I like to do, I want to show you as this kind of simmers in here, I want to show you what I think is really essential to do for your tortillas.
And I see that the chicken or turkey pieces, they're not real tiny. They're just sort of like bite-sized. They're actually pretty chunky.
Yeah, well, I like to just shred it. Kind of it gives it that like rustic feel. And
plus,
you do
again, not too much time.
Exactly.
Chopping it up real small.
You don't have to spend a lot of time and effort. That's the whole idea here, to have like a whole meal that's really nutritionally complete, that's all healthy ingredients, that's also easy to do. And if it's easy and tasty, then you're more likely to cook at home and to have that meal at home and enjoy it. So anyway, I'm going to let that simmer away, and I want to show you how I heat up the tortillas.
Okay.
So I like to use corn tortillas or flour, but whole grain. I would say these are like 6-inch. And then you just put it, if you have a gas stove, you just put it on the stove like that.
Wow.
And
I just put it right on there.
Just put it right on there.
Okay, I saw
just
a little
like 30,
flame,
that's all right.
but this is very authentic.
And then you can top yours. Why don't you go ahead and top it?
And so these are like the typical, this is sort of like salsa type thing?
Yeah, some salsa and some lettuce. I like to keep it really green and vegetable oriented. So then you have your your
speaking my
whole
language.
grain carb on the bottom.
Yeah, you got
You have
plenty
your
of veggies.
protein and you have lots of veggies. So it's a complete meal and it's super fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and
that
so
one,
now
you
look
did good.
I
That
know.
looks great.
Is it so you kind of do
Oh,
like
yeah.
this?
Yep.
All right. And then I'm going to take a quick bite. This is probably not going to be very camera friendly.
But it's beautiful. A little messy taco's a beautiful thing. It's very
Wonderful.
good. Oh, good.
And you can watch Ellie make lots of other meals all in one skillet. That's this evening on Healthy Living. It begins at 9:30 Eastern. And of course, you can find that on the CBN News Channel. Up next, a former Navy SEAL is sharing his story of his journey fighting for his country, but with a unique perspective. We're going to bring you a look at that next.
Daddy,
Yeah, buddy.
how many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
The nearly 20-year war on terror has claimed many American casualties. For those surviving, their time on the front line, sharing their stories can be therapeutic. That includes a former Navy SEAL, Will Chesney, who participated in the mission to take down Osama bin Laden. He's now written about it with a unique twist. CBN's national security correspondent Eric Phillips has this story.
The title of Chesney's book, No Ordinary Dog, gives an indication of that twist. It focuses on his four-legged partner, Cairo, as much as himself, if not more. In a one-on-one interview, the author explained how Cairo saved his life in more than one way, so he decided to highlight the major role working dogs play in our military.
You know, I don't like talking about myself, but I'll talk about Cairo. He's pretty easy to talk about.
36-year-old retired Navy SEAL Will Chesney says he's always had a love for dogs and knew as a teenager he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. It wasn't until years later, after achieving that goal, that his two loves came together after hearing the testimonials of military dog handlers.
Raise your hand if a dog's ever saved your life. And everybody's hand just went up pretty much.
The first time I met Cairo was at Dam Neck at the training facility. And I remember him coming out towards the bunkers that we were working on, and he was a good-looking, laid-back, calm dog. He had a great bite. He was a really good worker. I got pretty lucky getting him.
Non-stop training built trust, relationship, and a deep dedication.
You know, we asked these dogs to do some pretty dangerous stuff, you know, and sometimes they lay down their lives to save ours.
That almost happened during a 2009 mission in Afghanistan when Cairo was shot while protecting his teammates.
When I saw him, he collapsed. I thought he had passed away. I thought he was dead right there.
But Cairo survived and went on to take part in a mission to finally get Osama bin Laden, the infamous mastermind behind 9/11.
But my job that night was to do sweeps of the perimeter, putting the dog in the best position to find any explosives or tunnel systems. I like to say I was just there to babysit Cairo pretty much and let him do all the work. And I remember, I'll never forget when we landed, just looking around and seeing that everybody was still alive and okay, and we had accomplished the mission. And I got to do it with my dog.
Assignments then took Chesney and Cairo in different directions. About a year later, a grenade blast left Chesney with a brain injury and post-traumatic stress, resulting in a difficult discharge from the Navy. By then, Cairo was also reaching the end of his career, and Chesney was able to bring him home.
Cairo was a huge part, and I would think getting me through the tough times as well. Cairo helped me get through some really tough times.
After watching Cairo suffer from cancer, Chesney had him put down in 2015. He says he wrote No Ordinary Dog to honor Cairo's memory, while also bringing attention to military working dogs and service animals in general.
He took care of me, I took care of him. And I just want to tell Cairo's story.
The ultimate love story between man and man's best friend. And animals continue to play an integral role for our service members. Just last week, the Defense Department highlighted how our troops helping the fight against COVID-19 in New York are receiving stress therapy from animals provided by the organization Puppies Behind Bars. It's why Chesney says even with shrapnel still in his body, he will continue to advocate for animals who assist and protect our military and first responders. He believes Cairo would be proud. Eric Phillips, CBN News.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he has, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
Welcome back. Like so many schools across the country, Region held an unprecedented graduation ceremony Saturday. For the first time, its commencement took place virtually, and it's all because of the COVID-19 crisis. Sean Brown brings us the highlights from the class of 2020.
For years, Regent University graduates have walked, even danced across this patio into their futures with family and friends watching. But this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the graduation ceremony took place virtually. This past Saturday, graduates were celebrated virtually as they watched from their homes. A week prior, each graduate received a box in the mail containing surprises to help them celebrate. The ceremony began with a powerful singing of the national anthem by Joy Wyndham, while honoring those serving on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic, including some of the graduates. Pat Robertson, founder and chancellor of Regent University, presided over the ceremony.
Graduation and our first virtual commencement ceremony in Regent's history.
The keynote speaker was internationally renowned author and speaker Eric Metaxas.
One of my favorite scripture verses, which I can start with now, is all things work together for good. What could be more well known than that scripture? But do we believe it? I want to challenge you now. Do you believe it? All things work together for good for those that love the Lord.
Regent offers 135 degree programs and concentrations in its 8 graduate schools and undergraduate program. It has one of the top-ranked online bachelor and master's degree programs in the country. This year, an estimated 2,200 undergraduate and graduate degrees were conferred, making the class of 2020 the largest in Regent University's history. Graduate reflections were given by Sabrina Matera Osario Estrella.
Dr. Robertson, thank you for instilling in us a principle of integrity, for cultivating our spiritual growth.
Darvin Muentes received his Bachelor of Science in Marketing degree and says regardless of the circumstances, God still has a plan for them.
It is very important that we celebrate the monumental achievement that we've done. You know, I've worked really hard for my degree, and so I still want to be celebrated somehow.
The graduates were charged to fulfill Regent's mission of Christian leadership to change the world.
The Apostle Paul, in writing about the troubles of his time, said, in all these things, we are more than conquerors. What are you facing? Well, you're facing a virus that has decimated the economies and the lives of everybody on this globe. The Lord Jesus said, all authority is given unto me in heaven and in earth. And when you go into this world as our graduates, I want you to know the theme today is you are more than conquerors through him that loved us.
Congratulations, class of 2020. Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable. It's a message I pray will bless you first and then move you to post tag tweet and share it with those in your circle. It is always time to face your problem, but never elevate it above your faith in God. Face the pain in faith, knowing God is always bigger. With that word, make this a terrific Tuesday. God wants it that way. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel, and you can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And you can reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.